Hey everyone, it's Ricky Molina from the Ricky Molina YouTube channel. Glad you could be with me again today. Today, as promised in a previous video that I made recently, we talked about the song Landslide and how keywords were an important way to flesh out the text for your lyrics. And we analyzed the song by Stevie Nicks and played by the guitar part played by Lindsey Buckingham of Fleetwood Mac, of course. And there are several versions of the song that we can refer to. The standard one is the studio version off of the 1973 Fleetwood Mac album. And it's one of the most beautiful songs on the album. But if you're interested in listening to the live version, a pretty good version appears on YouTube when Lindsey and Stevie Nicks did a performance on the Dave Letterman show. I think this was back in '98 or something like that. It's just a great live version to refer to. So there are differences in the finger picking I've noticed between the studio version and the live version. And we'll go over most of the patterns that appear on each shortly. But they're all beautiful in their own way. And of course on the live version you have the fingerstyle solo, which we'll go over. And when it comes to fingerstyle, there are just so many different variations on how to play the chords that you are arpeggiating. And that's the technical term or the classical term for saying that you're going to be finger picking or playing the notes of a chord instead of playing the chord in one fell swoop in a strum. Like instead of that, you're going to be doing. Okay, so that's where the variations come in. And there's so many different variations, and I just want to preface this video by saying that you can play this fingerstyle any way you feel most comfortable, because it's great to play what you hear on the album, but it's not necessary that you play it exactly that way. Ultimately, it's up to you how you feel most comfortable playing the song, and sometimes you just gotta go with what comes to mind and just automatically comes into play. Okay, so several things to start off. Logistics. I'm going to refer to the standard tuning of the chords, but they're not really standard tuning. As you notice, we've shifted up by 3 frets and put a capo on the 3rd fret, and that shifts the C all the way up to a D sharp. So technically we're in the key of D sharp or E flat, and but we'll be playing a C formation as if we didn't have the capo here. So I'll be referring to the chords as if we didn't have the capo on, and as if we were playing in standard tuning, which is your traditional E, B, G, D, A, E. But because we have the capo here, we have in fact a G, D, B flat, F, C, and G. Okay? I'm just looking at the 3rd fret here. Okay, so capo on the 3rd fret so you can play along to the album or the live version. Next order of business, structure, song structure. Okay, there's a short introduction with the finger picking pattern, and I'm going to be showing that to you in a second, but okay, and I'm going to slow that down and show you how that's played. But that's what's in the introduction, and it's also in the verse. So verse 1, verse 2, chorus, and then we have the guitar solo, okay, which is played over the verse again. Okay, so essentially it's like a 3rd verse, but we'll call it the guitar solo. And the verses are pretty much identical with one another musically. And then after the guitar solo, which is played over the music for the verse again, we have another chorus. So the 2nd chorus, and then finally verse 3. Then there's an ending, and we end on an A minor 7. And I'd like to remind you that you can find a PDF for this tutorial with the fingerstyle patterns that I'm talking about in this video, as well as the guitar solo on the live version. Okay, so let's start off by getting the chords down for the verses. So we start off with a C chord, and we'll be playing essentially the inside strings of the chords for the verses. We're not going to touch the first string or the bottom string. Okay, so the top E string and the bottom E string, we're not going to touch them. We're going to stick to the inside 4 strings here. So we start off with a C chord, and then we'll go to the G over B, which is essentially pinky on the D here up on the 2nd string, and 2nd string on the 5th string. That'll cover the B, so it's really a G chord over a B bass. To an A minor 7. Okay, so that's the first pattern. Okay, so they're essentially, so I like to talk about 2 patterns that you hear predominantly on the studio version. So the first one goes like this. When it comes to fingerstyle, it's all in the right hand. So let's get the right hand down here. I'll refer to the thumb as T for thumb. Index finger is 1, middle finger 2, ring finger 3. We hardly ever use the pinky when it comes to fingerstyle playing in, I want to say, Western music. You'll hear it a lot in the flamenco style of play, right? When you do sweeps and things like that. Okay, for the most part, when it comes to fingerstyle, you're really just talking about thumb 1, 2, and 3. Okay, so it's thumb 2, 1, 3, 2, 1, 2, 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 thumb 2, 1, 3, 2, 1, 2. And then you can speed it up, but start very slowly and build it up slowly. Okay, so the second fingerstyle pattern that I notice on the studio version is kind of coming a little bit from the right side, and it's a little bit lower. Okay, so it's because it's the bass notes here, I mean the lower notes of the chord. Essentially, this is what I'm hearing. What that is essentially thumb, thumb, 2, thumb, 2, thumb, 2, thumb, 2. So we're going from thumb to thumb. So we're moving down a string with the thumb there. We're going to go from the C to the G over B again to the A minor 7. Same exact chord formations. Thumb, 2, 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 thumb, 2. How he does it, how he plays it live is a slightly different question. But on the studio version, you got two parts that are layered over one another. And the first part we covered before, which was right? Okay, so it's those two parts that are coming together on the studio version. And I noticed that this part is keeping the rhythm and the tempo going throughout the entire song. Now, there is a break, of course, and he disrupts that metronome thing during the break, and also, of course, during the solo. If you ever get lost in the song, you can always revert to that part. And that's what's so important about learning that part. But certainly the first part, the one that I mentioned as the higher register in the top, the second string, that's the one you hear predominantly. And I get the feeling that that part may have even been recorded with a 12-string guitar or something. There's something going on in the studio version where maybe it's a chorus that's applied to the acoustic guitar, but it sounds to me very much like a 12-string guitar. I'm not sure. I could be, my ears could be fooling me, but okay, so that part is the part I'm talking about that sounds to me like a 12-string almost. If you want to play this live, I think you should play the first part predominantly. And then when you either get lost and you have to revert back to something to get yourself reoriented, if you're, playing live, sometimes you get a little flustered, whatever, or you get lost in the song, you're like, where am I again? I'm so into this song, I kind of get into a dream state. And I would play that part to accompany the singer. You can revert to the other part when you get a little lost. And I just played the transition from verse 1 to verse 2 there. That's an A minor 7 with a hammer on. Okay. I'm hammering on the C, in this case, on the second string. I'm playing the A bass. And then I'm coming right through with the E and then the open G. So it's... That's at the end of verse 1 going into verse 2. Okay, so that's at the end there where she goes, "To the Landslide, lay me down." Okay, so once again, that's just an A minor hammer on. Okay, and that's the open second string, the B, and the B in the bass, with the G followed. So it's okay. Oh, man in the sky, what is love? Okay, so what is that? That's simply the first part again. Oh, mirror in the sky, what is love? Okay, so we just tacked on third finger up there on the second fret. That gives you like a G major 7 feel. Instead of a G chord, you get that G major 7 kind of feel. Okay, so it's oh, in the sky, what is love? He does that in the live version. You don't hear it right away in the studio, but I like it. It's the G major 7 there. That's the F sharp on top, 2nd fret. Beautiful chord, isn't it? Okay, so we have to talk about one more part which before we get into the chorus, and that's the end of verse 2, where she goes, "Can I sail through the changing ocean tides? Can I handle the seasons of my life?" At that part, you know, we're talking about a little bit boisterous stuff going on in someone's life. So it's like you gotta get something different. And so what Lindsey does is he adds the G on top of the G here on the C to the G over B to the A minor 7. He adds the G on top. Okay, so in this case, it's very similar to the original pattern, to the first pattern. But instead of hitting the 2nd string, we're going to hit the 1st string, the top string. Okay, can I sail through the changing ocean tide? Can I handle the season of my then into the D7. And we play the inverted version of the D7. Instead of this version, we play this version with the F sharp in the bass. And it's a hammer on onto the C on the 2nd string, and we don't touch the top string. Can I sail through the changing ocean tide? Can I handle the season of my life? A minor 7 hammer on. So we're playing 2nd string, 3rd string, the bass. We're not playing the 5th string. So it's... And then after the D7, it's pull off into a G. So you have to pull off of the C. And the rest is just... So it's... You could play that different ways. The fingers, I prefer to use the 3, 2, 1. Okay, so that's... Well, I've been afraid of changing, right? Okay, so it's... Okay, so you can play that so many different ways. Essentially, we're going from the D7 again. Right? Well, I've been afraid. That's an E minor chord. There you want to avoid the only note you don't want to play in the E minor is the B bass. Okay, so everything else is pretty much golden. And then you want to finish that E minor with a hammer on. Okay, So it's, again, that's a hammer on A into the B into an open D, okay? And that's how we end the E minor chord, and then back into the verse part. See how I got reoriented with the second version? Okay. I just introduced my third version, fingerstyle pattern, which is, see how confusing this can get? But you have to choose what works for you. Like what I was doing there was just that you didn't notice the difference. This is not something that he plays on any of versions. But it sounds pretty nice, right? And what is going on there? And in this case, what's going on here is I've got bass, third finger on the second string, 1 2. So it's thumb 3 1 2, thumb 3 1 2, thumb 3 1 2, thumb 3 1 2. See, what he does on the album and on the live version is he goes dum 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 dum. I'm gonna do a little bit of exaggeration here, but it's like that's what you hear predominantly throughout the song. And the way I was playing it just now was like thumb 3 1 2, thumb 3 1 2, thumb 3 1 2, thumb 3 1 2, 3 1 2, thumb 3 1 2. To the other versions, whenever you, however you feel. That's my version. And then that's Lindsey's version. It's more true to the song. And eventually, as you get more comfortable with all these different patterns that you'll come up with and play for the song, you want to then pay closer attention to when you have to increase the volume with your finger picking, and dynamics is what I'm talking about, and then when you should calm it down, sort of like to get really nice and sweet and quiet when she's, especially after the guitar solo. And generally speaking, the most extreme parts in terms of the dynamics I've noticed in the songs and in the versions, the choruses, you want to pick up the volume. Okay, so but here you want to quiet down. Well, it took my love, took it down. If you climb a mountain, you turn around. Now he picks it up a little. You see my reflection, the snow-covered hill, the landslide. Try to let those notes ring. The G major 7. Maybe the landslide bring it down. And that last chord is an A minor 7, and we don't play the top string, we just play the middle strings. And we don't hammer into it. Okay, don't. It's a nice strum it's actually a strum with a pick coming back at the end, at the very tip, at the end there. That's the way you want to thumb, thumb, thumb. And by the way, the notes for those different variations, that's also in the PDF.